Thank you, Jazz. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. This afternoon, my name is Robert Hutchings. I'll be chairing the hearing today. I am joined on the panel by Laurie Davidson and Ian Mon. The assessment department representative is Jamie Fougere today, and our administrative personnel is Jaswinder Kumar. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment role in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be it advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions again. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. Today, we will be hearing items 1 through 9 on our docket today. Mr. Kumar, could you please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Jamie Fougere.
Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Timer, please state your full name. Thank you. Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please sit.
Thank you, Jazz. Good afternoon to Mr. Reimer, Mr. Fougere. First item on the docket today is 755 Sterling Line Parkway. Item number 1, file number 22-2558. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. And I believe, just let me confirm, there are no preliminary issues to deal with on this property?
Correct.
Mr. Reimer?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Fougere, when you're ready, 755 Sterling Line Parkway.
Yeah, so before I begin here, I just wanted to make sure that you guys got, I sent a PDF document. I think it's titled November 7th and then final. So basically I have a recommendation for each of the properties on the docket today.
Oh, okay. Maybe, Jazz, would we have that available on SharePoint?
I just sent that into the chair folder, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so bear with us, Jamie, for a minute while we refresh and pull this up. But we're going to deal with them individually. For the record, we're going to go through each property. Okay.
A&T recommendation, it just showed up.
The A&T?
A&T recommend. Oh. That's the A&T recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I knew it wasn't there yesterday.
Okay, all right. So, yes. So we've got 755. So, Jamie, are you saying there's one for each property?
That's right.
2165, okay.
And I put them in order of the docket.
Okay, would you mind? I'm just going to confirm that everything is here, okay?
For sure. And just be advised that there are a few where there was more than one income stream, so they take up a couple of pages.
Yeah, okay. And I'll just deal with this first, then I'm going to ask you a question. 1305 Pembina Highway, okay. And 50 Kildonan Green Drive, okay. So my question to you regarding this, thank you for that. And I assume Mr. Reimer has seen these ahead of time and had time to review them.
Actually, I haven't seen them, Mr. Chairman, but I can tell you based on the discussions of Mr. Fougere and myself that we're in agreement with the suggested values this afternoon.
Okay, so we'll go through them one at a time for the record. My question is, having looked at the docket, there was 1, 2, 4 non-compliance requests by yourself, Mr. Fougere. Are those still in play or?
Right. So with regards to that, it turns out that one of them was a new owner. So in that case, we would drop the penalties. And then the other 3 were late responses.
Okay.
And so I conferred with our department, and in these particular instances, we were looking at the dates, and we felt that it was acceptable to drop the request.
Okay, so we'll deal with that individually as they come up. I believe it was item 2, 3, 6, and 8 that I had registered on the docket in the agenda. So, okay, we will deal with those. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with 755 Sterling Lyon Parkway. And I guess bear with us because we're going to have to be, I assume these are revised workups that are changing your values. Is that right?
So for the new document that I had sent, the PDF of the recommendations, I have the original assessment on the left side.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. So we can go along. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Okay. So first item on the docket is item number 1, 755 Sterling Lyon Parkway. Mr. Jamie, can you please introduce the property and go through, and then we'll refer to your submitted document, okay, for the revised value?
Sounds good. So the first address that we have here is 755 Sterling Lyon Parkway, and the roll number is 100067760005. And so the original assessed value was $11,172,000, and we're recommending a reduction to $10,344,000. And just to point out what has changed, we've reduced the rental rate from $20 to $19.28. And we've increased the capitalization rate from 6.15 to 6.4.
Okay. Excuse me. And I might as well ask you now, we've got a capitalized land adjustment.
You know, I should really reformat the spreadsheet that I have here. There is no land adjustment here. That's actually just a cell that, in case we had a capitalized land adjustment, it would go there and then calculate into the total. But the way that it's laid out is definitely confusing. I apologize for that.
So that's a blank line, in other words, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Okay. Mr. Reimer, any questions or comments?
No, just that we're in agreement with the revised suggested value of $10,344,000. Thank you.
Okay. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
I just have a really quick question. You said it was a reduction in the rental rate and an increase in the cap rate. Was that because you brought in different examples for rental rate like comps, or was it something else, or was just a closer examination of the evidence you already had at hand?
I believe that it would be reflective of the information that was reviewed when putting together our evidence. In this particular case, a colleague of mine was having discussions with Mr. Reimer and worked out an agreeable number with Mr. Reimer, but the remainder on the docket, I have personally done that work on. But for this one, it was a colleague of mine. So I would have to think that it would be looking at available market information that led her to these reductions. But I would say that it is also in line with the evidence that I've prepared for this hearing as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Lori. Ian, any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I have no questions either. The difficulty I have with is that in our decisions, we have to provide a reason, evidence presented by the appellant required in our decision. So, Mr. Reimer, I think we're going to have to go to your presentation, okay? And maybe you could explain why you're accepting. No, that's a poor wording. I guess why you're accepting the recommendation.
So in every case, Mr. Chairman, to be clear and to be so the board knows, I'd simply brought some very basic information summarizing the discussions of Mr. Fougere and myself, so I don't actually have my briefs with me. What I can tell you is this, in terms of the process, our submission certainly in each and every case would have requested a value that is lower still than the recommendations we're making this afternoon. The question had been posed, and it's a good one, as to sort of how Mr. Fougere and myself, in most of the cases, except for this particular one, but how we arrived at the revised values. And certainly it was based on a review of where rental information was available, which is the case of some, but not all of the sites. We looked at that. We also looked at the market indicators near the reference date for grocery stores, for the smaller ones, and also grocery stores and retail warehouses for a couple of the larger ones. That resulted in turn in some adjustments to the rental rate, as well as some adjustments to the capitalization rate based on the Altus Group cap study. So it's a series, as the board can appreciate, it's several moving parts, but fundamentally the adjustments would relate to the market rent in most of the cases, and also an adjustment to the cap rate. The vacancy allowance would not change. The shortfall allowance wouldn't change. The non-recoverable expense allowance total for the purposes of coming up with the revised values would typically be at 3%. And of course, all of that, as I've mentioned in previous hearings, that flows through to our suggestion as to cap rate. And so Mr. Fougere and I took account of all of that in coming up with these revised figures. So fundamentally, it's rental rates and capitalization rates that are forming the basis of the reduced values.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Reimer. I think for the record, I'm going to ask you to read in your brief for the record.
Mr. Chairman, what information did you need? I have those materials, the briefs with me. I can certainly go get them if that's required.
I think we should have it on record, the submission of your brief. So you don't have any copies with you at all?
I did not anticipate going through my briefs, Mr. Chairman, but I can certainly obtain them. If we might take a 15-minute recess, I will go and grab them, or at least grab my laptop, and I will go through those.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. We can provide him our laptop just to read it online if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. So, Carrie, would you mind just reading in the address, roll number, if you've got, would Mr. Reimer have access to that information?
Yeah, I can try for that, but yeah, we have to go for a recess for a moment then.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind. And then we can, you've already explained what you did there with the consideration and acceptance of the recommendation. But yes, please, Jess. Do we need to recess for a minute or?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, we'll recess for 5 minutes. Thank you, Jess. I'll now call the hearing back to order. Mr. Reimer, could you please, for the record, present your brief? And you've already explained what process went through to, where you went through with the assessor to establish a recommendation of the property. But maybe you could just do a quick summary to explain what happened there, and we'll accept that, okay?
Certainly. So the property is 755 Sterling Line Parkway. This is the Red River Co-op store located at Seasons. It's roll number 10-006 776-005. Now, in this case, Mr. Chairman, as Mr. Fougere talked about, this actually, the discussions between the department and Altus actually predated all of the other properties that are on the docket today. So as mentioned, the those prior discussions had resulted in an agreement to reduce the value from 11,172,000 to 10,344,000. Those revisions were, again, broadly speaking, were based on market rent adjustments and cap rate adjustments. And in this case, as Mr. Fougere has presented, it was a combination of both. And we're asking the board to accept the joint recommendation at 10,344,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the appellant?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the appellant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori?
No, thanks.
Okay, and I have no questions either. Thank you both for presenting that information for the record. So that concludes 755 Sterling Line Parkway, item number 1. Next item on the docket is going to be item number 2, and we're got file number 22-913, 655 Osborne Street. We're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment. And Mr. Fougere, there was a preliminary request here for non-compliance. Shall we go through, maybe introduce the property, and then we'll go through that, okay?
Sure. So the property that we're dealing with is 655 Osborne Street. The roll number is 120104 14200. And the original assessed value is $4,269,000. You had alluded to the preliminary issue, which was the late response received for the income and expense questionnaire. So you can see that on page 3, we did receive the income and expense questionnaire. It was late. I did speak with our department, and we do have some discretion when it comes to this matter. Since it was still within a relatively close to the due date time frame, I think we are prepared to waive our request for the penalties to apply. And so if I may, if we're ready for it, I can present our recommendation here.
Okay. Bear with us 1 second here. I got to go back to your
Sure.
Your document there. Okay, and we're dealing with the second one, right? 655 Osborne Street. When you're ready, please.
Yeah, so 655 Osborne Street, again, it's another grocery store. Here we've moved on the rental rate. We had $15.76. Here we're proposing using $15. There are no other changes in our recommendation for this property. So the original assessment was $4,269,000, and we're proposing $4,059,000.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Reimer, any comments?
We are in agreement with the value of $4,059,000. And as Mr. Fougere alluded to, this particular one involved an adjustment to the rental rate. This is one of the older, if the board is familiar with the this shop on Osborne, it's one of the older Safeway locations, very small footprint. And based on the review that we've done, we ask the board to respectfully ask the board to accept the recommended value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I have no questions. Well, actually, I do. Sorry. So just to confirm, the cap rate is staying the same. So the only change is the rental rate. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Reimer, could you quickly present your brief, please? And I think you've explained that you accepted that. So
Sure. So this is, as I mentioned, this is the Safeway located at 655 Osborne. The request, as indicated in the initial submission, was to reduce the value to $3,624,000. I am amending that request to ask the board to approve the revised value of $4,059,000 at this time. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the appellant?
No, thank you.
Ian, any questions?
No, thank you.
Lori?
No, thank you.
And I'm good too, thank you. So that concludes 655 Osborne Street. And just to no, I'll leave it at that. Okay, next item on the docket is item number 3. And it's file number 22916. 2155 Pembina Highway. And we're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment. And again, Mr. Fougere, we've got a preliminary issue with the non-compliance. So if you just bear with us 1 second while we get up your brief here, and then we'll deal with the non-compliance and then the recommendation, I believe. Thank you.
So you're ready to go?
Yes, please.
All right. So the address, as you say, is 2155 Pembina Highway. The roll number is 030629300500. And the original assessed value is $10,740,000. Again, here we had a late response for the income and expense questionnaire. And you can see that on the 3rd page of my brief as to their response. Again, this is the same case as the last property, and I believe there's one more where I had a chance to discuss it with one of the managers, and we were willing in this case to waive the request for penalties.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe at this time, Mr. Reimer, any questions on that?
Questions?
Ian, any questions of the assessor regarding the non-compliance?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions?
I have none either.
And I have none either. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Fougere, could you bear with me 1 second? I'm going to get back to your recommendation workups. And we're looking at 2155. Okay, perfect. If everybody's ready, please.
Yeah, so So this is another one of those properties that I had mentioned before where there's more than one income stream. And so the first stream here is the supermarket. And then, so that's on page 3. And then on the 4th page is the branded gas station of that same supermarket. And so I'll start off with the supermarket here. We've reduced the rental rate from $14.63 to $14. And that's the only change to the supermarket stream. And again, that's based on looking at market comparables and comparable information that's out there. And then on the 4th page, or the second of 2 pages regarding this property, is the gas station kiosk. And so the only thing that we've done here is change is to match the capitalization rate of the gas station to that of the grocery store. And then we matched the vacancy allowance as well. So we've used 4% instead of 2% for the vacancy allowance. And then we've used 6.65% for the capitalization rate, up from 4.9%. And so the gas equipment that's just below there, that's the cost for the canopy and pumps and tanks. And so that hasn't changed. That was added into the total there. So overall, the assessment has gone from $10,740,000 down to $9,911,000.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fougere. Mr. Reimer, any questions of the assessor?
Questions?
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
I have none, thanks.
Thank you. Ian?
I just have one with respect to the cap rate change for the gas station from 4.9% to 6.65%. That cap rate change to correspond with the same cap rate as the grocery store. Is that as a result of a change in parameters, or is that as a result of a negotiated settlement with Mr. Reimer?
So it's I would say it's more of less of a negotiating point, but it is the result of discussions with Mr. Reimer. The idea behind it is that if you look at a single property, you would expect a single capitalization rate, and here I believe that it's merited to match the capitalization rate that we've given the supermarket. Match the capitalization rate for the gas station to the supermarket, because that is sort of the primary driver of value at the site.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Okay, and I have no questions either. Mr. Reimer, bear with us one second if you don't mind introducing your brief and give a quick summary for us, please.
Certainly. So 2155 Pembina. This is located right on Pembina Highway. It's the older Safeway. There's a newer Sobeys that went up further up Pembina, but this is the original Safeway that would be on the west side of Pembina, just a few blocks north of the Pembina Village Shopping Center. So in this case, the discussions, as Mr. Fougere mentioned, resulted in an adjustment to the rental rate and cap rate in terms of the gas bar income stream. And we are in agreement with the value of $9,911,000 and ask the board to order accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the appellant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I have no questions either. So that concludes 2155 Pembina Highway. Next item on the docket is item number 4, file number 223179. And the address is 80 Bison Drive. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. And we have no preliminary issues on this one. So Mr. Fougere, just bear with us 1 second while we pull up your brief. When you're ready, please.
Yeah, so as you say, the address is 80 Bison Drive. The roll number is 0309-144-9600. And this is the superstore on Bison Drive. And so here we've made an adjustment to the capitalization rate. And this is in part due to basically looking at all the grocery stores on the docket and trying to sort of bracket them, you know, in an order that would make sense logically. And so here we've raised the capitalization rate from 6.4 to 6.65. And again, here we have a second page for the recommendation. So the first page that we looked at, page 5 of the document, was the supermarket. And again, we've only changed the capitalization rate here. And then on the second page, we've matched the capitalization rate as we did at the last property for the same reasons. And then we've matched the vacancy allowance as well. So we've used 4% for the vacancy. And so the total assessment goes from $27,472,000 to $26,162,000.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fougere. Mr. Reimer, any questions of the assessor?
No questions?
Thank you. Ian, any questions for the assessor?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori?
No, I have no questions either. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just looking through this. So we've got the store portion. Is that right, Mr. Fougere?
Yeah, so
Page 1. Yeah.
that's right. And then on the second page, the sort of 2 of 2,
Yes.
that's the gas station kiosk.
Okay, it's a gas bar. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I may have neglected to say that.
I assumed that was what it was, but just wanted to confirm here. Okay. So again, you're reflecting, let's see. You're reflecting the, matching the cap rate to the main structure, the store.
Exactly.
Okay. That's my only question. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Reimer, just bear with us. We're going to get back to your brief for 80 Bison Drive. Okay. Mr. Reimer, when you're ready, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this is 80 Bison. This is the superstore and gas bar that's located just to the west of the University of Manitoba, just over the tracks. And we are requesting that the board approve the joint recommendation, pardon me, at the value of $26,162,000 for the reasons that Mr. Fougere has set forth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the appellant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the appellant?
I have no questions. Thanks.
Ian, any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I have no questions either. That concludes 80 Bison Drive. Next item on the docket is item number 5. And we're dealing with file number 22-2471, 3477 Pembina Highway. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Appeal. And Mr. Fougere, bear with us 1 second, please. Just getting your revised workups back up here. Okay, when you're ready, please.
Yeah, so the address is 3477 Pembina Highway. So this is fairly far south down Pembina. It is in St. Norbert. And so it used to be the site of, I think it's a Family Foods, but it has been replaced by new construction of the Red River Co-op grocery store. Sorry, I don't think I've read the roll number just yet. 0309 300 3405. So the original assessed value was 8,662,000. And then if you want to turn over to the document that I have with our recommendations on it, basically what we've done here is we've separated out the mezzanine space. So we've allocated 2,270 square feet to the mezzanine and used a rental rate of $9 on it. And then we've adjusted the capitalization rate from 6.15 up to 6.25. And so this was largely in hopes for consistency's sake. There are a few newer construction grocery stores here, and we felt it was appropriate to come up a little bit on the capitalization rate.
And I'm sorry, did you detail what the revised value was?
No, I don't think I did. Sorry. 8,662,000 was the original assessment, and we're proposing a reduction to 8,240,000.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reimer, any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
Just one with respect to the mezzanine area. I noticed in your property description, the mezzanine area was not included. It was all leasable area, but that 2,270 square feet was included in the applicants. Has the land property description been amended to reflect that going forward? That there's mezzanine area here on a reduced square footage rate?
I have not yet changed it in our system, but it is something that I will be doing following this appeal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Lori, any questions?
I was just wondering for my own education, how the sale value of 8.7 worked into the revaluation of the assessment.
So the sale that's found on the third page of my brief has a value of 8,714,714. This is a sale between related parties. So the National Co-op chain has sold this store. I think they basically built the store and then sold it to the Red River Co-op. And so our view is that they're related parties. And so we're not placing particular weight on the sale. I think the fact that it's close to what they had agreed to, internally between themselves, probably suggests that we are, in the right direction here. But as far as our recommendation goes, it didn't directly factor into our decision making as to where to have the parameters. I would say that that's more of a consideration when we looked at the properties as a whole on the docket, as to the capitalization rate, for example, as well as we haven't adjusted it here, but we've looked at the rental rate, of course, for the newer stores, and believe that they're reflective of market value as well.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, Mr. Fougere, just to confirm, the gross leasable area has not changed, but you've reassigned a different value to the mezz area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's my only question. Mr. Reimer, bear with us 1 second and we'll get to your brief. Back too far. Okay, Mr. Reimer, when you're ready, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This is the Red River Co-op in St. Norbert, as Mr. Fougere had alluded to. And we originally, as noted in our submission, we were coming in at a value that was closer to 7.9 million, but we do agree with the suggested value of 8,240,000, and we're asking the board to order accordingly. I would also echo the comments that Mr. Fougere made with respect to the sale. This was the important to understand that this was a transaction between related parties without any exposure to the open market, and the considerations certainly that would have gone into that transaction. It just wasn't the type of transaction that would be considered in truly an open market arm's length transaction, and was more a function of the corporate structure between federated cooperatives nationally and the local co-op entity, and it was a transaction between those two entities. So for the same reasons that Mr. Fougere had alluded to, we didn't put really any weight on that transaction, but very important for the board to understand the dynamics of that. So thanks, Mr. Chairman. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the appellant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the appellant?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Ian, any questions?
Thank you.
And I have no questions either. So that concludes 3477 Pembina Highway. Would anybody require a quick 4-minute break?
I'm fine right now, thanks. But
I'm fine.
Lori, you okay? Okay. Jamie, you're okay. Mr. Reimer, you're okay? Okay. So we will continue on. Next item on the docket is item number 6, and the address is 550 Kenniston Boulevard. And that is file number 22-1423. We're dealing with a 2023 realty appeal, and Mr. Fougere, there's a preliminary issue of a request for non-compliance. Would you like to introduce this property, and we'll deal with that first, please?
Right. Okay, so the address here is 550 Kenniston Boulevard, and the roll number is 120976111800. And so this is the superstore on Kenniston. Further up, across street is Grant. And so with regards to the non-cooperation request, this was actually, we did receive the mailer here, and it was on time. Unfortunately, it was not placed in the right spot in our system, basically. Did not save in the right location, and so it's triggered the non-cooperation. I thought the property was not responsive to our mailer request, but Mr. Reimer had pointed it out, and he was able to find it basically online looking through our system. And so I was able to see that it actually we had received it May 4th, and the information was there and clear. So so that satisfied our requirement for the response. This is another one where we have a recommendation. Sorry.
Would you mind confirming you're withdrawing that request?
Yeah, so we will withdraw our request for the non-cooperation penalties.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Can you just bear with us while we get to your revised value
For sure.
worksheets here? And okay, when you are ready, please.
Yeah, so this is another one where we have 2 pages of the recommendation. So the first page that we have for 550 Kenniston is page number 8. And you can see at the top it says 1 of 2. This is for the store itself, for the grocery store itself. And so here we've only changed the rental rate on the main area. So we've gone from $12.95 down to $12.25. And again, this is looking at market information and rental rates. And in this case, and for some of the larger grocery stores, also looking at retail warehouses. And then on the second page, just below that, is the gas kiosk. And here we've again matched the capitalization rate to the grocery store itself. So for the gas station, the original capitalization rate was 5.1, and here we've changed it to 6.7, again to match the capitalization rate of the grocery store. We have also done that with the vacancy, gone from 2% to 4% on the vacancy allowance. So overall, the assessed value goes from 18,001,000. We recommend that it is reduced to 16,860,000.
Thank you, Mr. Fougere. Any questions by the applicant?
No questions.
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. Mr. Reimer, bear with us 1 second. I want to get back to your brief for this subject property. Okay, Mr. Reimer, when you're ready.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this is the superstore and gas bar at the corner of Grant and Kenniston, as Mr. Fougere noted. So we can confirm we are in agreement with the overall value of $16,860,000 based on the adjustment to the rental rate. This particular store is a little unique in its mezz area. We've talked briefly about the mezzanine space, and it's actually got 2 different mezz areas, one of which is sort of got some finish to it with office, but a very significant component that's just used for storage. So that was also, just for the board's information, that was part of what Mr. Fougere and I looked at as well. And at the end of the day, the main floor rental rate is what's driving the reduction to 16,860,000, and we ask the board to order accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you. No questions.
Okay, thank you. And Lori?
And for me there too.
Okay, thank you. And I have no questions either. That concludes 550 Kenniston Boulevard. Next item on the docket is item number 7, I believe. Yes. Item number 7, file number 22-2560, 2850 Pembina Highway. And we are dealing with a 2023 realty assessment. And Mr. Fougere, no preliminary issue here. No. Okay. And then if you bear with us 1 second, I'll pull up your, I assume there's another revision on this one. Is that a recommendation, probably? Bear with us 1 second while we get to your revised workups, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Jamie, when you're ready, please. 2850 Pembina Highway.
Yeah, so 2850 Pembina Highway is the address. The roll number is 0309 299 3555. And the original assessment was 18,108,000. Here, if you want to refer over to the recommendation document that I have, we have reviewed the rental rate that we have. We originally had it at $21. Here we're coming down to $19.25, and that's the only change that we've made. Again, this is another newer grocery store. This is the larger new Sobeys that was referenced earlier, and trying to recall the cross street. I think it's Kildare. Let me see.
I think it's Killarney.
Killarney.
Yeah.
Killarney. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, wrong end of the city there. So this is sort of part of a new sort of development, replacing the old mall that was there. And we've arrived at the rental rate, looking at some of the newer rental rates. Actually, I think this is an actual rent in place here at this new grocery store. So considering that it is new, we think it's indicative of current market rates. So the assessed value goes from 18,108,000, and we're proposing that we reduce it to 16,579,000.
Okay, 16,579. Thank you, Mr. Fougere. Mr. Reimer, any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the assessor?
No questions, thank you.
Ian, any questions?
And I have no questions.
Thank you, and neither do I. Mr. Reimer, bear with us 1 second while we get to your brief, please. Okay, Mr. Reimer, when you are ready.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this is the new Sobeys that is located at the south end of Pembina at the corner of Pembina Highway and Killarney. So this is, if the board members recall, this used to be it's sort of an enclosed mall that had Zellers at the south end and an older Safeway at the north end with some shops in between. It's been significant work, obviously, on the mall. The Zellers vacated a number of years back. Now a portion of that space is occupied by a dollar store and PV Mart, so that's now at the south end of the mall, and then this is the new Sobeys that was redone at the north end of the mall. And Mr. Fougere's comments are exactly right. The 1925 is actually the rental rate in place, and for this particular property, we actually do have a rental rate in place, and certainly based on the rent in place, and then looking at sort of some of the other indicators for newer stores that Mr. Fougere and I looked at, we certainly thought the 19.25 made a lot of sense, and we're asking the board therefore to accept the revised proposed value of $16,579,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions of the applicant?
No, I have none. Thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No, thank you. No questions.
Okay, and I have none either. That concludes 2850 Pembina Highway. Next item on the docket is number 8, file number 22-914. Address is 1305 Pembina Highway. And we're dealing with a 2023 realty appeal. And there's a request, Mr. Fougere, for a preliminary issue for a request for non-compliance. Would you mind going through that, please?
Sure. So as you mentioned, 1305 Pembina Highway is the address. The roll number is 0309298478. And again, we did receive a response here, and this is similar to the other two that were also late. Again, it wasn't outside of our window to review the information, and I did discuss it with manager, and we've agreed to drop the request for the penalties for the non-cooperation in this case. And so just as far as sorry, I guess I should pause there in case there's anything that needs to be said further about the penalties or our withdrawal of the request for penalties.
Mr. Reimer, any questions?
No questions.
Ian, any questions of the non-cooperation request?
No, thank you.
Lori?
None either. Thanks.
Thank you. So we have it on record that the request for non-compliance has been withdrawn. So we'll go to the evaluation of the property. And Mr. Fougere, bear with us 1 second, please, and we'll get back to your workup. Okay. Okay, Mr. Fougere, when you're ready, please.
Yeah, so this property is the old Safeway that's been rebranded as Freshco. It's at the corner of Pembina and McGillivray. There's two tenants here. There's the Freshco, which is owner occupied, and then the TD Bank. So if you look at our recommendation here, I put it all on one page because actually we're not proposing any change to the supermarket income stream. The change that we are proposing is to the bank that's on the site. And so there's a large, older TD bank that has just recently renewed their rental rate or their rental agreement at a rate of $29. And so that's the only, well, sorry, that's not the only change. The other change that we've made here is proposing matching the capitalization rate of the bank to that of the supermarket. So that goes from 6.35 up to 6.9. And again, that's because we are viewing the primary driver of value at the site to be the supermarket, and so overall, this changes the assessment. The assessment originally was 9,117,000, and we're proposing using 8,489,000.
Okay, thank you. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just completing my notes here before we proceed. Let's see. So in totality, we're going from $9,170,000 to $8,489,000. Okay. And the reason was to the bank, you're matching the cap rate to the store cap rate, right? Okay.
Right, as well as using the actual rent in place at
Okay.
yeah.
And that's revised from $32.73 to $29 a square foot on the bank portion. Okay. Perfect.
Correct.
All right. Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarification. Mr. Reimer, any questions of the assessor?
No questions?
Ian, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions?
No, I have none.
And I have none either. Mr. Reimer, bear with us 1 second while I figure out where I am. Get to your brief for this subject. For 1305 Pembina Highway, right? Which will not open. Okay, Mr. Reimer.
Thanks,
When
Mr.
ready, 1305 Pembina Highway.
Thank you. So, and just to clarify, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if I heard you wrong, but the value that's under appeal is 9,117,117,000. I thought I heard you say 170, but it is, to be clear, 9,117,000 as a starting point.
Got it.
So this is the rebranded store, as Mr. Fougere alluded to, now a Freshco at the corner of Pembina and McGilvery. And it's got the older TD Bank building on that site as well. And we're asking, for the reasons outlined by Mr. Fougere, we're asking that the board accept the proposed joint recommendation at 8,489,000 in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Okay, Mr. Fougere, any questions of the applicant?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Lori, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
None from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I have no questions either. So that concludes 1305 Pembina Highway. And the last item on the docket is item number 9, file number 22-3520. Address is 50 Kildonan Green Drive. And we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Appeal. And Mr. Fougere, no preliminary issue on this one. So just bear with us while we get to your revised value after you read in the record. And I'll let you know when I've got back there. Okay. Last one. Okay. Jamie, when you're ready, 50 Kildonan Green Drive.
Yeah, so the address is 50 Kildonan Green Drive. The roll number is 04007194-100. And this is another one of the newer grocery stores off of Kildonan Drive. And if you'll look at the recommendation document that I have, this is the last page. And here we've only changed the rental rates on the main area and then on the mezzanine area. So we're proposing using $18 on the main area and then $9 on the mezz. And so that changes the overall value from $9,906,000 down to $9,454,000.
Okay, everything. Okay. So I'm just finishing my notes here, revising from 9,906,000 to $454,000, reflecting both. Right? I mean, fair. Mr. Reimer, any questions of the assessor?
No, Mr. Chairman, I think at our end, you cut out a fair bit for the past 30 seconds or so, but I have no questions of the assessor.
Okay, thank you. Ian, any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lori, any questions?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. And Mr. Reimer, bear with me 1 second while I find your brief again for the final property in the docket, 50 Kildonan Green Drive. Okay. When you're ready, Mr. Reimer.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So this is, the newer Sobeys at 50 Kildonan Green. And for the reasons mentioned by Mr. Fougere with respect to the adjustment of the rental rate, we are asking the board to approve the joint recommendation at the revised value of $9,454,000 this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Fougere, any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Lori, any questions of the applicant?
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ian, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. That concludes item number 9, 50 Kildonan Green Drive. And that concludes our docket today. We have heard all the items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you to both parties.